Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Mr. Zombie here with a new video for ya. Welcome to the incredibly long-awaited part 19 of What If Izuku Midoriya Had a Villain Quirk. Oh, wow, this one was a long time coming. I can't remember when the last episode of this series was. Anyways, sit back and relax, cause the newest episode begins right now. As the students gather themselves to rescue their Izuku, many pro heroes were called in for a rescue mission established for the juniper-haired student. Both parties were determined to rescue the young UA student, but Todoroki and Momo's eyes held a drive that burned hotter than anyone else's. They were going to bring back their friend if it was the last thing they did. Bakugo and Kirishima made their way to the outside of the hospital, meeting up with Shoto and Yaoyorozu. Crimson eyes glanced quickly at the group, settling on the heterochromatic hair of their owner's classmate. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go get the damn nerd! Not so fast, Bakugo. I believe there's someone who wishes to speak with us. The son of Endeavor turned to the side, looking over at Iida, who walked before them silently. His fists were at his side, clenched tightly. Why are you all being so idiotic? This crusade to save our classmate is a fool's errand! The tall figure shook as he glared at the classmates. You've seen what happened the last time we faced those villains! We could barely hold our own! What's the point of this ragtag rescue if all it does is kill us? Don't you realize it'll just heap more blame and doubt on UA? Not to mention that I am your class rep! It's my job to make sure that all my classmates are okay! That's the key word, isn't it, Iida? All of your classmates. A cold glare pierced the bespectacled teen as Todoroki walked towards him. Are you so quick to forget Izuku? One of the classmates who helped save you from Stain? Who encouraged your desires as a hero? A classmate who could currently be undergoing some kind of torture so the villains can finally make him crack and influence him to join the League? We won't be able to do anything in a fight against them! Who said we were going to fight them? All eyes moved to Yaoyorozu, who moved next to Shoto. A giant fight will more than likely kill us all. The safest rescue and the most likely one to succeed is a stealthy one. We will hide our presence and be in and out. That is our goal. It is exactly the plan Izuku would come up with. Tenya paused for several moments, trying to formulate a response or a complaint, but found himself without anything to say. A minute passed before he finally gathered enough wits to make a last-minute decision. I suppose I cannot stop you, and your plan seems sound. Kirishima let out a sigh of relief at the Ingenium Legacy's words. However, I cannot be 100% sure you will stay true to your words, so I will follow you. I will be your watchman to make sure you keep your word. A solemn nod came from the congregation of students around Iida, accepting his reason for coming. With their exchange done, the group inconspicuously made their way to a nearby train station, boarding a train that would take them as close to their target location as possible. The ride was awkwardly quiet. Tension was palpable in the air. Bakugo, are you sure you want to do this? Shoto's gaze met with the hot-tempered blonde. You and Izuku's relationship is far from optimal. We're going against the wishes of everyone and being incredibly selfish by doing this. You can bail out at any time. No, I can't, you damn icy hot! Katsuki's voice was shockingly quiet. If that damn nerd actually turns into a villain, it'll be my fault. I never helped him. I just ridiculed him. How the hell can I call myself a hero if I'm the cause of a villain's creation? No other questions were asked, the train car going straight back into silence. They finally reached their stop, entering the Kamino ward. Todoroki was preparing to immediately head towards the location of the chip they were tracking, only to be stopped by Momo. She reminded everyone that the villain knew what they looked like, meaning they would need to be smart to avoid notice. One thing led to another, and the group, including a very angry Bakugo, were disguised. At least as best as they could do with the store they had gone to buy them. If one of you ever says anything about this to anyone, I'll kill you. Obviously, Katsuki was not fond of the outfit he was forced into. An announcement came up on the screen, presenting a news interview with UA, including Nezu, Aizawa, and Vlad. Immediately, the reporters began picking apart the heroes, pointing out every negative thing to draw attention to their flaws. The students felt anxious about the air around them, hearing negative whispers about the heroes all over. The group quickly made their way out of the crowd they had entered, not wanting to listen to another word of the interview. Not too far away, a small screen displayed a recording of the same interview, before it was turned off. Tomura glanced over at a quiet Izuku whom he had shown the video to, in an attempt to further sway his loyalties. He had brought him out to the bar, Quirk suppressing cuffs still enclosing his wrists, so that the other villains could add their own thoughts in. He grinned as he saw light twitches and shakes come in, glad that he was finally rousing a reaction from their potential recruit. After the second day, Midoriya had gone nearly catatonic, barely acknowledging the words or presence of the League.
Oh? Do you find yourself agreeing with us, Midoriya? Someone as intelligent as you can surely see the limitless flaws within our hero-centric society.
Shigaraki's grin was so wide that it peeked out from the corners of the prosthetic hand on his face.
Come now, Midoriya. We're dying to hear what you think.
Silence reigned over the room for several agonizing seconds. Then, the freckled male slowly lifted his head, Verdinian eyes seeming to glow in the dark as they gazed upon the villains. A sneer twisted on the UA student's lips as he prepared to speak. I'll admit it. You do have a point. The felons around him instantly perked up. I've always hated our society. Being degraded and looked down upon by people because of my quirk. I hate it. The heroes don't do anything about it either. They claim they want to help, but they haven't done anything to stop the hypocrisy of our society.
Ah, what a refreshing point of view. My. It seems you're finally letting your true feelings out. I think I'm starting to get you, Midoriya. I know exactly how you feel.
Meanwhile, the student rescue group had found the location that the tracking chip had been leading to. It was an abandoned building, showing no signs of use for several years. They slowly crept around the perimeter, trying to approach the area as inconspicuously as possible. However, the entrance to the building also held signs of long-term disuse. At this point, Midoriya would have analyzed the entirety of our current situation. Wouldn't he, Momo? And just like me, he would have deduced that there was obviously another entrance. She glanced around and nervously looked at a narrow ledge between two buildings, pointing at it. That ledge should provide a good hidden vantage point for us to search. Iida nodded in agreement with his classmate's words. The group creeping towards the ledge and climbing up, squeezing along the narrow path. Hey guys! Above us, look! There's a window that can look inside! But how are we supposed to do that, shitty hair? Bakugo whisper yelled at the disgusted redhead. It's pitch black out here! We can't see anything! I can just make some night vision already covered, Momo. Everyone turned to see Todoroki brandishing an expensive brand of night vision goggles. Heh! Guess I wasn't the only one that thought ahead. Kirishima pulled out his own pair, which Bakugo snatched away to use. With the help of Tenya and Eijiro, the explosive blonde and the heterochromatic team were able to spy through the window, stiffening as they locked eyes with a sea of tubs to the lower left. They shook ever so slightly as they saw what could only be described as a small army of Nomu. This building is a damn breeding ground for those freaks. Damn it, Ponytail! That Nomu you tagged is here, but Deku probably isn't. The girl sagged against the wall, clenching her fist. She had so desperately hoped that her friend was here, that they could rescue him. The two students looking through the window were so invested in their search, they didn't notice a giant glove-covered hand picking up a truck until it slammed down onto the building. Izuku had been released from his cuffs, allowing his quirk to work once more. He let out a few experimental puffs of his gas, but did not attack the villains. A deranged look seemed to glint in his eyes as he looked towards Tomura. So then, leader, what is it that I'll be doing to help the League? Shigaraki's face held a large amount of self-satisfaction as he moved closer to their recruit. He began speaking to his master and the rest of the League, using Midoriya as proof of the fragility of the system of heroes. He was cut off by a knock on the back door, announcing a pizza delivery. Confusion was the only emotion felt in the room before one of the walls caved in, the figure of All Might charging straight through. Behind him was Kamui Woods, who sent out a capture attack, entangling all of the villains. Gran Torino, a veteran hero, assisted in knocking out one of the belligerent villains attempting to burn away the binds. Izuku's head snapped around, facing his hero course teacher.
You haven't captured us all yet. Isn't that right, Midoriya?
Glowing blue eyes locked onto their student as a whisper left the young man's lips. Toshinori's eyes widened before narrowing in anger, grabbing Izuku's arms as he thrust them out, ready to release his neurotoxin and turning them towards the League. The attack was quickly stemmed by the juniper-haired teen so he didn't attack his new allies. I see you managed to temporarily brainwash my student! You're more devious than I previously thought, Tomura Shigaraki! The symbol of peace seemed to quiver with rage as he held his struggling wayward student. Seeing no way out of it, the teal-haired lunatic called out for Kurogiri to open a rift. The man's shape blurred for a second, only for him to cry out in pain as the pro-hero Edgeshot appeared, using his quirk to take the misty villain out of commission. The number one hero also dismissed Tomura's threat of the Nomu, having already had pros dispatched to take out the lab, in which they had been stored. The League's leader seemed to deflate entirely, gripping his fists where they were forced at his side. He refused to meet the eyes of the symbol of peace as Midoriya valiantly struggled against his strong grip. The ensnarled villain had given up hope when the sea of portals, different from the ones Kurogiri created, opened within the building. Nomu slowly crawling out of the inky grayness that ripped into the air. One of them charged All Might, forcing him to release his student and block the attack. In that single second that the hero was forced to release the freckled adolescent, another rift tore open the space between Izuku and swallowed him up, whisking him off somewhere. Shock and anger shone in the illuminary eyes as he delivered a serious blow against the Nomu, knocking it through several walls. He turned his head to glance at the police force and pro-hero backup that accompanied him, only to see that they were already fighting off the monstrous creatures that crawled out of the portals. All Might looked into the distance where the Nomu facility was supposed to have stood, and noticed a large cloud of dust and buildings tilted outwards. The area around the facility was decimated. The 5-student squad that set out to save Izuku was currently all frozen in horror, hiding behind a piece of rubble. A single man was shown floating in the air, talking idly of the uselessness of heroes. He held such a powerful aura that the students could hardly breathe. This one villain was powerful enough to take out several pro-heroes and a small army of armored police officers. Shoto peeked over the concrete, seeing the fiend hold his hand out, opening a rift where a familiar head of juniper-colored hair fell out. Izuku was now in the hands of someone that they had no choice of winning against. The heterochromatic boy desperately wished to curse his luck, but stayed silent and hoped that someone would be able to help him. All of them. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.